Hey folks, so sorry Vosh couldn't make it today, by which I mean Vosh's camera couldn't make it today. Vosh Field taking over, a very old meme. And now we're here, and whoa, what is that? President Trump / Hannity interview while Trump is currently racked with COVID-19 medications. Let's see. Let's give it a look, folks.
Joining us now live from the White House, President Donald Trump. Mr. President, thank you for being with us. First, an obvious question. How are you feeling? How's the First Lady feeling? And I want to get into your comments that you would make Regeneron and therapeutics free for the American people. But first, how are you doing?
Really good, and First Lady's doing really good. And I thought Mark was fantastic, and I love your show.
Okay, I'll take it. Have you been tested since your campaign and your doctor, Sean Connolly, put out that you'll be medically safe and cleared for safe return to public engagements by Saturday, five full days? Have you been tested recently?
Maybe. Yeah, I just saw the doctors today. They think I'm in great shape. I'm in great shape.
So, hold on. 5 days after he tested positive, this motherfucker is going to go back to publicly meeting people. Holy shit, this guy's a fucking virophage. He gets asked, have you been tested recently? He's like, yeah, the doctors put me in good shape.
Test negative?
And I'll tell you, I took this
He's not answering.
It's phenomenal. And Eli Lilly has something very comparable. It's phenomenal. And it's a whole new day. It's a whole... And if you go back a few months, nobody ever even thought about this stuff. We came up with it, and I'm going to have it delivered to every hospital. We have sick people with the COVID, or the China virus, as we call it, and we're going to make people better. It actually made me better. I went in. I could have left a day later. I'm telling you, Sean, it was incredible. So that's Regeneron. But, again, Eli...
By the way, Regeneron, Trump has connections to Regeneron. I'm pretty sure he has like financial connections to it, which means that the reason he keeps pushing it and saying everyone needs this is amazing, everyone needs it, is because he's broke as fuck and he wants to pump the stock of the company that Regeneron company. What company makes it? Regeneron Pharma. Oh well, Regeneron Pharmaceuticals. Okay, stock. We get 1 month. Yeah. Shot up on October 5th. Climbed since. Isn't Regeneron the stem cell one? Yes, if I remember correctly, Regeneron is the one that you derive from fetal stem cells. I looked into it. It's not just regular stem cells. I'm pretty sure it's fetal stem cells. So we'll see if any Republicans get really upset about that, because if you condemn abortion, but then you take drugs made from fetal stem cells here. Yeah, this is, see, I am, they use stem cells to test it. Oh, that's much better. Okay. Can I get a source for that? Yeah, here. Regeneron fetal stem cells. COVID treatment Trump touted as a cure was developed via cells derived from aborted fetal tissue. The antibody cocktail President Trump received for his COVID-19 infection and touted on Wednesday evening as a cure for the deadly virus was developed using cells derived from aborted fetal tissue, a practice the White House and anti-abortion rights groups oppose. Yeah, so just interesting, the fascinating one right there, but no big deal. Let's get back to it.
Lilly has something similar. The kind of things we're coming up with now are incredible. Remdesivir, but that's a little bit different, works much differently, actually. But these things are absolutely incredible. I think I'm going to try doing a rally on Saturday night.
Oh, God.
If we have enough time to put it together. But we want to do a rally in Florida, probably in Florida on Saturday night. Might come back and do one in Pennsylvania in the following night, and it's...
So he never answered if he's tested negative. It's been like less than a week since his positive test. They're all going to die, dude. He's going to die on stage. It's insane to me. Like Donald Trump, his pupils are the size of dinner plates. He's like zombie walking around the White House, just fucking coked up on the bacterial, antibacterial, antiviral fucking load. injected straight into his ass with a tranquilizer needle that they had to fire from a fucking gun from a helicopter. And now he's like, oh, I feel great. This guy is going to infect like the entire state. This man is incredible. He's going to like shake baby hands.
It's incredible what's going on. I feel so good.
Have you had a test since your diagnosis a week ago?
Oh, he's getting it down.
Well, what we're doing is probably the test will be tomorrow, the actual test.
Hasn't.
There's no reason to test all the time, but they found very little infection or virus.
You're still
if any.
infectious, even if you feel good.
With the doctors. We have these great doctors at Walter Reed, and you do rely on them. They're really fantastic talents, and they came in from Johns Hopkins also and other places. You know, when you're president, I never saw so many doctors looking over me. I think I'm the most analyzed human being in the world right now. But we have the head people at, not only Walter Reed, which is incredible with the job they do, but also Johns Hopkins and other hospitals. And I think they're amazed at how quickly this went, frankly.
Let me ask you
So to recap, he hasn't been tested. He has not been tested negative. And he is planning to just go right the fuck back into meeting with other people tomorrow. Right now, I'm recording this on Friday. Tomorrow. When I release this as a YouTube video, it might be that day. That's when he's saying. It's been a week. Just go right back to coughing in the faces of elderly people. You know, I don't fucking mind all the people he comes in contact with, the Republicans. I don't mind him being the greatest vector in all of human history. I don't mind him being fucking patient zero for wave 3, okay? If he as long as he's communicating with the right people. Oh, it's already been pushed back to Monday? Interesting. Gotcha.
The debate commission said earlier tonight that their decision is not going to be reversed, even if you get a full, healthy go-ahead from all of your doctors and follow the CDC guidelines. How do they get to unilaterally decide that without consulting with you or former Vice President Biden's campaign even?
Well, I didn't even want to use them. You know, last time I had a big problem. They oscillated my mics when I had the one debate. We had 3 debates with Hillary, and on I think the first debate, they.
What?
Yeah.
Excuse me. On the first debate, they.
Oh, you okay over there, Trump? Yeah. You all right? Okay.
Oscillated the mic, and they oscillated it very, very seriously. And they actually apologized to me.
What?
And I said, what's this all about? They were Clinton people. Yeah. And I said, we ought to just do the debates ourselves, John. We ought to just do it ourselves. And I pick, I'm the president, so if we want to have debates, I'd rather just do it ourselves. Pick some good anchor. We have another one. I didn't know this, but the other one is from C-SPAN. And he's a never Trumper, and I think somebody said he worked for Biden at one point. Wait,
I'm sorry. What is he bitching about right now? Does anyone even know what he's talking about? Is he saying the mods are unfair to him or something? What the fuck is he going on about? He's saying the mods are unfair because his mic oscillated in 2016?
These are the people we get. And that's okay because, I've had some bad ones over the years, and I've got an unblemished record, I think, in the debating world, according to the polls. If you look at, I think I had 15 debates last time, and they say I won them all against very talented people in some cases. But I will say this, that it's a very sad thing. Now you have this debate commission. It's a joke. The commission's a joke. Take a look at the letter they wrote me.
By the way, if you look at an aggregate of the polls, people say Biden won the first debate. In terms of performance, 33% of people thought Trump did good and 66% thought he did poor. In terms of policies, 39% think he did good and 57% thought he did poor. This is an aggregate. This is from 538. So it's not just like one poll. Like, no, people absolutely believe that Biden did better than Trump. Not that it matters to him at all.
4 years ago when they apologized, they were oscillating my mic. They were turning it up and down when I was speaking to Hillary, crooked Hillary. who turns out to be very crooked. Look
Still
at all
in
the stuff we
2016.
found out on Obama and Biden.
Dude, I make fun of skeptic YouTubers for still being stuck in 2016, but can I blame them when the entire Republican Party still is? They are still talking about fucking Hillary Clinton, dude. They cannot stop talking about Hillary Clinton. They are obsessed. So I feel like I can't blame conservatives for still being stuck in 2016 because, like, yeah, they talk about Hillary Clinton like she was like the cheerleader they fucked back in high school. You know what I mean? Like, they keep going back to her even though they're in their 40s now. Like, oh, yeah, that Hillary Clinton. What are you going to do? Yeah, the glory days before my knees gave out.
In her. So we'll see what happens. But no, I'm not interested in doing a virtual. I'm not Joe Biden. I'm not going to do a virtual debate, sit behind a computer screen.
Hey.
And that gives him the answers because they'll be handing him the answers, just like he gets when he asks. I mean, he does news conferences. He does them, and they give him the answer, and they give him the question.
Couldn't you also get the answers? If you're doing it at home, couldn't you also get the answers? You're the president of the United States. Like, couldn't you also do that?
And they give him what kind of a news conference? He does them all the time.
Let me ask you this, because
dude, can you imagine debating online with Trump? He would do some crazy shit. He would like blow on the mic and stuff. Trump, how do you answer for the 250,000 dead from COVID? And then he would like run off or something like that. You know, he'd be crazy in the online debate. In the online debate realm.
I think you have an opportunity to challenge Joe Biden directly. His campaign can make the decision to go forward with a debate, get any health check that they want, and follow through and have 2 debates, and you could agree upon the rules. You don't need a debate commission to do that. So I guess you have the ability to challenge Joe Biden to such a debate. Are you doing that tonight?
Well, I might. I'll do it right through your show. Let's go, Joe. Let's get a fair anchor. But this is a disgrace what's going on. So now I find out the guy that's doing it from C-SPAN is a never Trumper. But I don't mind that. Look at the people I've had in the past, and I've always won the debates. I had Martha Raddatz. Her hatred was so incredible, I couldn't believe it. But I beat Hillary in that debate easily. So, it's I don't mind that. It's not even.
I don't actually remember the aggregate polls back from 2016, but if I remember correctly, I'm pretty sure most people believe Hillary outperformed Trump, right? I wasn't convinced because I felt like it was kind of like the VP debate for me, where like being like kind of smugly correct doesn't beat out being loudly, confidently wrong. But I think most people believed Hillary outperformed Trump in those debates. Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
Even that, but I'm not going to sit behind a computer and have somebody feed him answers because he has no idea because he won't be president for 3 months before the wonderful Kamala takes over with her. She's the most liberal person in the Senate. She's not a socialist. She's a step beyond socialism, as you know.
What did you think of last night's debate?
I just want to say, by the way, this is why when Democrats roll out the whole Bernie Sanders is too radical for the general shit, it's not fucking true, okay? You could step anyone up to be the Democratic candidate and she's going to be a fucking they're going to be a Marxist, okay? They call like anything. They could have put fucking Delaney up there. I'm not kidding. They could have put John Delaney up there as the Democratic candidate, probably the most conservative guy who was up there. I think I think so, or at least up there with them. And they would still call him like a radical communist socialist, you know? Yeah, they would call Bloomberg a Marxist. Yeah. If Bloomberg was up there, they would call him a far left Marxist. They literally called Bloomberg a Maoist. No, wasn't that me? Jokingly? Just a joke. I don't know.
Hey, sir.
I thought Mike was great. Legitimately, I don't mean because he's with me and he's my friend and he's done a great job as vice president. I thought he was great. He's a calm person. We're really a good combination. A lot of people have said that for a long time. I mean, he's a calm person. He's a good person. And he was just, he couldn't believe some of the things she was saying. And he really didn't. He couldn't believe it, what she was saying. They lie.
I couldn't believe what she wasn't saying, dude. Kamala Harris really did not push the envelope at any point during that debate. I've made my opinions in this clear. I just do not think it was a great debate for Kamala. I don't think it was great for Pence either, but like nobody held him to the fact that he wouldn't answer a single fucking question. So I don't know.
So much like fracking. him and her for a year, whatever the Democrat debates took. We are against fracking. We will, Biden says, we will never, ever see fracking, and, you know, et cetera, et cetera. As soon as he gets the nomination, he has to center over a little bit. No, we want to go fracking. We'll be fracking. And her, too, even her. I mean, she's a super. Then they get beat up by AOC plus 3, you know, because they said, you never said that before. Now, the press gives them a pass. The reason they give them
Conspicuously avoiding clips where the fly was on Pence's head. God, dude, listening to people talk about fracking makes me want to kill myself, dude. It's insane. I feel like it's 1920 and people are talking about how we will never betray the proud American horse taming industry by investing in cars, you know? I feel like it's 1952 and we're talking about how we will never leave behind the radio by investing in television. I feel like it's fucking 1991 and we're talking about how broadband television will never be replaced by internet. Like this country used to be at least somewhat interested in the idea of progress, you know? Isn't that what America used to be about? Not like in reality, but in concept. The idea that American ingenuity is constantly pushing forward the envelope. There's no American ingenuity in the fucking gas and oil industry. These are ancient, powerful lobbies. And the only reason we're so in bed with them is because the fucking CEOs of these industries contribute so much fucking money to the political parties. But like, if we had invested in green energy properly a decade ago, do you have any idea how far we could have come with American wealth? Do you have any idea how far we could have come? There are subsidies right now on green energy. I'm pretty sure Trump has interfered with those. But if we had more heavily subsidized it, if we had more extensively invested in these industries, we could be on top of the world. Can you imagine? But we're not. We're like keeping ourselves in a hole. The rest of the world is like racing ahead of us because they're like investing in green energy tech that we're going to have to buy from them, by the way. Well, we're inventing new ways to drill fucking radioactive material out of the ground and poison our own water supply. We're putting ourselves in a position where, when inevitably we have to make the step to green energy, because we haven't invested in it with our own companies, we have to buy that equipment from Germany or from Japan, which is going to be monumentally more expensive. It's going to be cucked as shit. We're going to have to rely on their productive capacity rather than our own. We're fucking ourselves so hard. It's insane.
a pass is because they're fake. The news is fake. The enemy of the people. And the press.
By the way, calling the media the enemy of the people is literally right out of Goebbels' book. This is Nazi Propaganda 101. The term media is the enemy of the people is literally verbatim a quote. You can imagine why.
Gives them a pass. If I ever did that, I would be excoriated.
Let me ask you about the issue that Joe Biden and Kamala Harris refused to answer. That is about packing the United States Supreme Court, which would be a change that hasn't happened in 150 years.
Yeah, terrible thing.
And Joe Biden literally said today, and I honestly thought last night Kamala Harris would have a different answer. I thought when Mike Pence challenged her that she was going to say no, that they would not support it. That is, their non-answer is revealing.
Instead, she talked about Abe Lincoln or something, yeah.
Joe Biden went further today and said, you'll know my position on court packing the day after the election. What's your reaction to that?
I think it was a terrible thing to say. I think it's so disrespectful to the people. And he should have said something and, say, look, to the best of my knowledge, this is probably what I do. I think what he said was so disrespectful to the process and to the people. What he said then was just disgraceful. But what that means, really, is that they're going to do it, okay? Because obviously that means 100% that's what they're going to do. No, they're going to end the filibuster, and they're going to do things that you wouldn't have thought. I've been fighting the filibuster with Mitch for a long time because I said, Mitch, they're going to do it. If they ever got in, Schumer would do that on day one. I agree that what they did was right. You take a look at what Mitch and some very good Republican senators did, because it's good for the country. But I said, here's the problem. If they ever got in, day one, this would be the first move they make, end the filibuster.
The projection. After everything Republicans have done to fuck over Democrats and their ability to govern, it is true, though, by the way. The only future for this country's success is one in which the Republican Party is made obsolete. We cannot survive them. They're going to try to make you forget the Republican Party is and always will be the party of Trump, a party that was willing to completely abandon even the veneer of civil respectability and throw all of their weight behind a blatant and open effort to interfere with the electoral process. That is the Republican Party. They cannot be allowed to exist. They simply cannot. As far as I'm concerned, the Republican Party is the world's most effective domestic terrorist group. In fact, they're significantly more effective than any other in all of human history. And treating them as such, getting them arrested. Honestly, like the crimes that these people have committed are extensive. But there's no law for these people. There's no justice for these people. The Republican Party cannot be allowed to lead this country once again, under no circumstances. We need to abolish the Electoral College flat out. It cannot be allowed to exist. The Electoral College is a crutch for the Republican Party. Yes, Chomsky has said the Republican Party is the most dangerous organization in human history, and they are completely correct in that respect. We need to abolish the Electoral College. We need to impose stricter gerrymandering restrictions. Untangle untangle Texas, untangle fucking Idaho, untangle fucking Iowa, untangle all of the untangle Canada. Do it too. We need to liberate these states, okay? Absolutely. Texas would be blue. Yeah, 100%. Yeah, we would fix this country. The Republicans can still have their irrelevant local officials, but they have clearly indicated they are not capable of running this country. Everything gets worse with them. Everything. They do everything wrong. They're bad. They're anti-democratic. They're anti-American. I mean that sincerely. They hate America. I hate America, but I hate America for good reasons. I hate America because it treats people poorly. I hate America because of the military-industrial complex. I hate America because American exceptionalism is a cloak that the wealthy use to distract the poor from the fact that they're being exploited. I hate America for good reasons, okay? They hate America because it has too many poor brown people in it. That's it. That's why they hate it. They look down from their ivory tower in Washington. They say, it's okay. There are just too many non-white people, too many non-Christians, too many non-wealthy people. We got to do something about that. That's the problem they have with America. Not enough military spending.
The nuclear option, as they call it. And they'll do that in not a week will go by, probably not a day will go by. But again, Harry Reid did it. That's why we have so many judges. I want to thank you very much, Harry Reid, because Harry Reid, he ended the filibuster, and I'm going to have 300 judges by the time I finish. 300. It's a record. By the end of the first term, think of that. It's a record in the term. By the end of the first term, I'll have 300 judges, just about, give or take a few, couple.
Mr. President,
it's all because think of it, John. It's all because of Harry Reid and a lot of good work by a lot of good Republicans, including Mitch.
This is another reason, by the way, why people who say that a Trump and Biden presidency are the same are fucking idiots. Trump has appointed hundreds of federal judges. Those are federal judges that are going to be ruling on cases on black people getting shot by the police. These are federal judges that are going to be ruling disputes between indigenous people and corporations that pollute their land. These are judges that will serve for a long time, hundreds of them, and they were appointed by Trump. That is one of the jobs of the presidency. Yeah, he brags about it. This is one of the ways that presidents can have long-lasting impacts way beyond the actual scope of their presidency. Wait, so he's packing the courts? No. Packing the court means you add more Supreme Court justices. Like, you add more of them. Like, there are 9 right now, and you're like, fuck it, 30, What he's doing is he's just filling circuit and federal courts with judges, but he's not adding new seats. He's just filling empty spots. Yeah. Is more judges a good or a bad thing? Depends. Are they blue or red?
Don't you think, or do you think, that the people of this country need to know whether or not Joe Biden, if he were elected president, would pack the courts,
yes,
whether or not he would support statehood for places like D.C., whether or not he would support ending the filibuster, whether or not even maybe pursue a constitutional amendment to abolish the Electoral College? To me, these are fundamental questions that he is refusing to answer. What is your answer to his non-answer? And the media, I think he's answered less than 100 questions since this whole campaign has started, which I think makes these two debates that are forthcoming even more important than any average presidential.
Wait a second. I'm sorry. Wait, hold on. What the fuck am I looking at right here? Shoe head. Vosh launches misogynistic, bigoted attack on Senator Kamala Harris, criticizes her for not being aggressive enough. She would do this weird shit like folksy aphorism in between trying to be a girl boss. As uncharismatic as I expected, I'll give him credit for that. But letting him dominate the discussion like that is just not acceptable. It's just not. I said Sam Harris again. Listen, you have to be aggressive, man. You have to be aggressive. Why didn't Kamala Harris a single time? Wait. I actually know the reason, and it might be a viable reason. It's because she's a black woman, he added. Women have to be very nice, especially black women, if they want to be treated seriously in the political arena. Very nice, very civil. Wait, that's true. Wait, that's true. Yeah. Black women get, like, super unfairly treated. Yeah, they know that. The Kamala Harris... Is he quoting this like it's a bad thing? I don't know if he's agreeing with me, but he says this is a misogynistic... I don't know. I know he's quoting me. I'm aware. It's in quotation marks. Bosch goes on to attack the moderator, who he calls the loser of the debate. This is fair, but he never takes back any of his prior comments, even after admitting he knows she has to be nice to the debate. Yeah, no, he's quoting me as though that's like a bad thing. Well, thanks, Shu. The guy seems to think you're making a normative claim instead of a descriptive one. Yeah, that's so weird. If I said, like, hey, in 1920s New York, black people have to be really nice to white people or they'll get in trouble, like, would you interpret that as me saying that's, like, a good thing? Like, yeah, that's how black people should be? Or that I'm criticizing the unfair standards placed on them? I don't know. Okay, let's not get distracted, folks.
Election year.
Well, he's got a lot of non-answers. I mean, look at Second Amendment. You know, you never talk about Second Amendment. He wants to take away your guns 100%. He put Beto, who's he turned out to be, he was exposed by Ted Cruz and me. I think I helped a lot too, but he was exposed as a clown. Much worse than that, but I want to be nice because it's a nice, evening show. But he was exposed as a clown. He wants to take away your guns. He's going to take away your Second Amendment. Nobody asks him about the Second Amendment anymore. Do you notice that the Second Amendment is very important? It's a big thing. That we campaigned on it. I protected this. If I weren't president, you wouldn't have a Second Amendment right now. And Biden does that. Nobody's.
Oh yeah, dude. Hillary Clinton totally would have succeeded in revoking the Second Amendment, which would have required a constitutional amendment and the ratification of... It's true. Trump actually was the one who passed the Second Amendment. For hundreds of years, we had amendments 1 and then 3 through 10 in the Bill of Rights, and nobody knew what the second one was. Nobody knew, like, why would the Founding Fathers leave this? And Trump said, that's where the guns go. And he put the Second Amendment in there, and since then, we've been able to have guns.
Nobody talks about life anymore.
What?
Pro-life? Is he pro-life? No, he's not pro-life. What is he?
Again, I can't stress this enough. Donald Trump is, at the time of recording this, high on drugs that were tested on fetal stem cells. I need you guys to know this, okay? He is currently high on drugs tested on fetal stem cells.
Why don't you ask him that question? He doesn't want to talk about it. But he endorsed a governor of Virginia who not only executed a baby late-term abortion, but executed a baby because said the baby can be born and then you can kill the baby.
What?
And he's totally in favor of that. And
what? Execute? Wait, what? Was there a late-term abortion that happened, like an emergency required an abortion into the 3rd trimester, and that's what he's calling a baby execution? What is he talking about? Is this the reason why that one guy who called in a couple of weeks ago said he heard that Biden was gonna make it legal to kill babies after they're born? This was an Alex Jones thing? Okay, this is an Alex Jones thing, okay? What the fuck are we talking about right now? These people literally think that, like, the parent can return to the hospital to see the child resting in the nursery and just fucking execute the baby. Just fucking cap the ass of said baby and then walk out. And it's like, yep, that's an abortion, all right.
I can tell you, your pro-life groups are they're en masse. They're en masse. This is their one shot because what's going on is so bad, is so evil. The governor of Virginia said we will execute the baby after the baby is born. That's when you talk about alert.
I don't know what he's referring to here, but I know just categorically that he's lying. Oh, by the way, guys, for the first time, maybe ever, we now have a 2-digit lead in the popular vote, projection polls average, whatever, over Trump. Biden over Trump, 10.1. It's steadily climbing upward and has been, and we are now at a 2-digit lead. Now that is a fucking lead right there. I'll tell you that. Hillary never had that over Trump back in 2016. Oh, this Virginia late-term abortion bill labeled infanticide? Okay, so it was just a bill. Did it even pass? The measure allowed termination in cases where there may be severe deformities or if it's a fetus that isn't viable. If the infant would be delivered, the infant would be kept comfortable. The infant would be resuscitated if that's what the mother and family desired, and then discussion would ensue between the mother and the physicians and the mother. So it's just if there's a severe deformity or if the baby is non-viable, then that is allowed. It actually says outside the womb. Yeah, but it says if the infant is non-viable. Sometimes babies are born and they're only going to live a couple of months because they have a there's something wrong with them physically. It can happen, Yeah, this is from 2019. Not stillborns, because stillborns are when they're dead on birth. But if they're born and they have some sort of genetic condition that would definitely guarantee their death soon, I guess this would apply to that. This is a far cry from just, like, ubiquitous infanticide. Did this even pass? Funny Alex Jones clip about it. Yeah, this could be potentially humane.
We keep the babies alive after they're born and have a discussion.
Hey, Joe Rogan. Only platforming the best.
They're getting caught now because we've decompartmentalized.
Didn't see
we
that,
keep them comfortable.
But I am very, very concerned with late-term abortions.
We don't want, it's a 3-minute clip, pull it up. We don't want the government involved. The doctors and the mother who's drugged up, you didn't say that, are going to decide about the future. And maybe she keep baby alive a week. Maybe she decided to get rid of baby. He goes, well, sometimes the baby is deformed. No, they want the organs. If they can kill a baby after it's born, because sometimes they deformed. You know, see, sometimes they deformed. Here's the key. They're like, why are we wasting this 7 pounds of meat? Where they go, oh, we consider the baby dead. The mother decides.
I see. So his theory is that they want to eat the babies. Okay, gotcha. Okay. Yeah, that's about on par for, it's about on par for this sort of thing. That Django shit? Well, it's in Virginia, right? So I assume he's trying to do, like, a Virginian accent. Yeah. Why is he doing a black voice? I'm pretty sure that's just a southern voice. It's not a black. Have you guys ever been to the South? You realize there are people in the South who sound like that who aren't black, right? Jesus. There's people like, dude, that's a black voice. Like, holy fuck. Have you guys ever been? I don't know if that's a Virginian voice, mind you, but he's just trying to do a Southern voice. All right.
Late-term abortion. This is early-term execution, and it's a very, very bad thing. But you don't ever hear anybody talking about pro-life, pro-choice with Biden. Did you ever hear it? I haven't heard it. Very rarely do you hear it. I don't think he'd know how to discuss it. But very importantly, a Second Amendment, though. They just don't discuss the Second Amendment. He's going to take your guns away. So everybody with a gun, you can't.
They've been saying this for decades, by the way. There is absolutely no chance of a Democratic president successfully implementing a severe national gun restriction. It's never going to happen, okay?
Vote for him because you're not going to have your gun. At the same time, they want to defund the police. So you're not going to have police protection. And, by the way, you can't have a gun. So when one of these maniacs breaks into your house.
Biden was literally arguing with Trump over how he wants to increase funding to the police. Listen, we can talk about defund the police all you want. Remember that interview that Trump did where he was like, Biden wants to defund the police. And the interviewer said, it was the moderator, right? It was the, fuck, I always forget his name. Chris Wallace, yeah. Chris Wallace was like, no, Trump, I'm afraid he actually never said that. And Trump asked for, like, Biden's plan and read through it. He's like, well, it's somewhere here. And Wallace was like, no, it isn't. And Trump was like, well, I'll look at it later. And they just left it by. It's been over a month since that interview.
House at night, because there are no cops around. You don't have a gun to protect yourself. That's a great combination. And the suburbs are going to fall. You know, a lot of people talk about
the suburbs.
The women of the suburbs,
what?
Right? Women of the suburbs.
What?
They do or don't like Trump. I don't know. But what I've done is incredible for the suburbs. The suburbs are...
What? Was that literally just the white women? We have to protect the white women? You know, one thing that was very telling for me was that during his debate with Biden, Donald Trump talked about how he's going to protect the suburbs. Biden called him out for dog whistling and said that the suburbs are integrated now, and Trump actually didn't defend himself. That was very telling there, wasn't it? That back during his debate, Trump never said, I didn't mean white people, I meant the suburbs, or he didn't call Biden out for race baiting. Trump just moved on, as though Biden had successfully called him out on his dog whistle, which is incredible that he can't even, like, defend it, you know? He's literally talking about protecting the white women. Well, like, we're not far off from the 14 words here. Again, people talk like fascism is this elusive, imaginary thing that only happens in other countries. Like, we literally have the president of the United States talking about how he's going to protect the women of the suburbs. Holy shit. And their daughters.
Over, as you know. The suburbs will become more unsafe than the cities run by the Democrats.
What?
And so I think I should do very well with suburban women.
What?
Because I'm the one that's protecting them.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sorry. My ears are ringing. Like, I can't. Hold on. I have to clean my ears. It sounds like there's a fucking fly inside my ear. Holy shit. This ringing noise.
In terms of law and order and in terms of zoning. They want to build low-income housing right next to your house as the American dream is destroyed. But they don't.
Low-income housing. What kind of people do you think the Republicans associate with low-income housing? He can just do this. Are you trying to do visual humor? I am trying to do visual humor, and my camera isn't on, and now that you've pointed that out, I feel kind of like an idiot. But here I am. That's life, and yeah, here we go.
Talk to Biden about this. They don't talk to him about law and order. I said to him the other night, mention the words law and order. He wouldn't do it. I said, no, mention the word law and order. Go ahead. He wouldn't do it. And then, of course, Chris Wallace came in to protect him.
Let me ask you this, Mr. President, if I may. I played at the beginning of the show. We don't have a lot of time left. I won't play it again. Joe Biden, twice in the debate that he had with you, said he will eliminate the Trump tax cuts. now he's saying only on people $400,000 or more, but I'll let you explain it. He says he's not against fracking, but I have him saying he will eliminate fracking twice, and we played that tape. He has repeatedly said, and Kamala Harris last night falsely have claimed that you have yet to once condemn white supremacy, yet I showed multiple instances when you have done just that. The neo-Nazis, David Duke, white supremacy, white nationalism, disavowing David Duke, and yet they continue to spread that falsehood. Your reaction, because they don't seem to get called out.
I mean, they talk about this a lot, but keep in mind, if you can't condemn, if every single time getting you to condemn white supremacy feels like pulling teeth, that kind of says something about you. If you're the president and white supremacists are constantly doing terrorist shit, then screaming, yeah, Trump 2020, and then when you're asked about it, you're like, well, good people on both sides, stand back, stand by, and then only in like a couple days later are you capable of croaking out a half-hearted disavowal. That speaks a little bit to your inability to speak against these groups, by the way. I did a video on this where Trump did eventually disavow the Proud Boys, but he did it in such a half-assed way that it really didn't feel like anything. But the Proud Boys still got like super triggered by it, you know? So like, and he knows that. Trump knows that his popularity it resides most strongly in these like far right militia cells. Like these are the people who rep him hardest. Dude, Antifa are not like bastions of Biden's support. So there's an incongruity here that he is unwilling to address because he knows it would attack his own base.
By the media on the fact that what they are saying is false.
And I condemn the people on the left like Antifa that are burning down your cities all summer long, okay? And without any...
I'm pretty sure Trump has said that he wouldn't just condemn them. He said that he would arrest them. Remember, Biden said that he would arrest the quote-unquote arsonists and anarchists? Remember that? Has Trump ever said that he would be arresting the far-right militia groups?
Any control whatsoever. They're all... Biden people, meaning not Biden. Biden's not smart enough to know what the hell it even is, but they're of that philosophy. And I condemn them
Anarcho-Bidenism,
very,
baby.
very strongly. It's not just the right. It's the right, it's the left. But the left has been the problem for a long time. Antifa is a big, big problem. And, I see Whitmer today. She's complaining, but it was our Justice Department that arrested the people that she was complaining about. It was my Justice Department that arrested them. But instead, she goes and does her little political act, and she keeps her state closed, although we just won the big case, as you know, to open up Michigan, because what she's doing is a horrible thing to the people. The churches are closed, the schools are closed, and the whole state is closed, and people are being hurt very badly by it in the form of drinking and...
Michigan, that's interesting. I don't know when this was live, but this was posted here 16 hours ago. Was this interview done literally? Okay, so it says 9:50 p.m. ET. This was done just half a day before the Michigan governor kidnapping scheme was discovered by the FBI, or was it right after? So wait, this would be 9:50 p.m. ET. That's 6:50 in PST. Oh, this was after? Okay. So this was just after. Okay, interesting. This is from yesterday? Yeah, when was the Michigan kidnapping thing done? 17 hours ago. What's the oldest news article I can find? 17 hours ago. The oldest news article that I can find is from 17 hours ago, and this was published 16 hours ago. So I think that whichever one came first, it was pretty darn close. It was Thursday night for the Michigan. Well, this is Thursday night here, so...
Suicides and depression. It's a very sad thing. But no, Joe Biden wants to raise taxes, and very sadly, if you take a look, he wants to raise taxes, but he says he's going to end our tax cut. Well, people are getting actually much more. Mike handled it great. He said $2,000, but it's actually much more than $2,000 in child tax credits, which is $1,000 a child.
Hold on. The news broke yesterday morning, and this interview was yesterday evening. Okay, gotcha. Thank you. So the news articles just came out later. Thank you. All right. So this is being said, his criticism of Michigan is being said literally right after a terror plot was discovered against its governor.
So he wants to take all that away. So therefore, if you do nothing else, you're raising taxes by the largest percentage in the history of our country. If he terminated my tax cuts, which is one of the reasons that our economy has done so great, even now in this pandemic, which hopefully we're rounding the turn and we have incredible cures. And,
he's been saying for 6 months now.
A lot of therapeutics, and the vaccines are going to be coming very soon. But I'll tell you what I took is incredible. To me, I viewed it as a cure. It's incredible. And we're going to get it to everybody free of charge. It's going to hospitals. It's starting very soon.
What do you think the odds are that Trump is actually going to be able to provide an experimental treatment for COVID-19 to millions of Americans free of cost? What do you think the odds of that are? Just really think, just Bayesian analysis that one out in your brain, okay? This is the same guy who said that if Germany developed a vaccine for COVID-19, he would buy it from them only if it was only sold to him. Is that what? Tell me, of what degree of beneficence do you expect exactly? Yeah, it's going to be a freemium vaccine. The first drop you get is free. After that, it's $1,000 per drip on the IV.
The military is going to be delivering it. But he's looking to do big tax cuts, big tax increases, like at a level that's never been seen. Nobody's ever gotten the cuts that I got. I got the biggest tax cuts ever given, as you know, Sean, bigger than probably most. But he's going to end those tax cuts and reverse them, and now people are going to pay $2,000 plus child tax credits, all that. It's going to be a disaster for our country. It's going to put our country into a depression. And your 401ks are going to go down the tubes.
Citation needed.
And your jobs are going to go away.
Citation needed.
And you're going to have a depression, the likes of which our country has never seen before, and that possibly includes 1929.
Oh, yeah, dude. If we reverse the tax cuts that you put in, it's going to be another Great Depression. First of all, we're already in a depression currently because of you. Second of all, oh yeah, dude, we were, even though our economy was doing phenomenally under Obama, reversing the tax cuts that you put that pretty much entirely affected the wealthy, that is absolutely going to cause a Great Depression.
Mr. President, there has been articles out, and I would assume that Joe Biden and Kamala Harris not giving their position on court packing would be a national ad. I assume them both on record saying they would ban fracking would be an ad that would run in a lot of cycles in Ohio and Pennsylvania. Their website
and
that
Texas
endorses the Green New Deal, and Joe Biden saying he would spend trillions of dollars on it and pledging that. What would the new Green Deal look like, in your view, if implemented as promised by both Joe Biden and as a co-sponsor with Kamala Harris in the U.S. Senate?
Well, it's a deal that was conceived of by not smart people, AOC plus 3 and others. I don't even think they had any experience in the environment. But this was a deal conceived of, and the real price is $100 trillion. That's more money that this country could make in 100.
Dude, why stop at $100 trillion? Just say a quintillion dollars. Why stop at $100 trillion? It'll be $10 gajillion to do the Green New Deal. It'll be no. It'll be $100 gorillion. 100 gorillion. That's how much. We couldn't make that money in a million years. Yeah. Return to Monkey that money. Return all that money back to Monkey. By the way, some math was done on this. The reason why they say it was $100 trillion, which is a completely made up number, by the way, is because among the things the Green New Deal says it would like to see is every American being paid $15 minimum wage. So what they did was they took the wages of every single American who was getting paid less than that, upped it to 15. No, sorry, didn't up it to 15, paid them 15, and then assumed those $15 an hour minimum wages would be coming from the government. That about 100 million Americans or more would be be getting paid their money from the government, not from businesses, but from the government, you know? That's how it works, yeah. It's true. When you raise the minimum wage in America, the government now pays everyone's salaries. That's how it works. That amount right there accounted for like 80 trillion of the math. The video that explains this best, The video that explains this best is Knowing Better's video, where he talks about climate policy right here, the Complete Moderate's Guide. This guy's got really, really, really good videos on these subjects. And, you know, I might be able to just find the segment here. I think it'd be nice to, I think it'd be nice to get the direct information here. Hold on. Let me see if I can find it really quickly. This guy does really good videos. I'd recommend looking at them a few of the time.
About climate change in 1992 because pollution tends to affect poor and minority communities the most.
I don't find that particularly fun.
But
here we go.
Other right-wing think tanks like the Heritage Foundation have come up with a price tag.
And by the way, it's going to cost $93 trillion. Who can pay for this?
93 trillion? Like with a is that even a real number? Okay, so the first omission is that it's 93 trillion over the course of 10 years.
Didn't he do that one video about Columbus that was genocide apology? Yeah, he's retracted that. That was years ago. He said that he made some mistakes in that video that he didn't like, which is fine. I mean, people grow.
But how did they come up with that number? The Green New Deal is only 14 pages long. I've read it multiple times now, and it doesn't mention cost anywhere. The American Action Forum is responsible for that 93 trillion figure, and they based it on a number of assumptions. For example, the bill says that
it is the duty of the federal government to create a Green New Deal, to create millions of good high-wage jobs.
They took that to mean a minimum wage increase from $7.25 an hour to $15, then multiplied that out for 10 years, then assumed that the taxpayers would be on the hook for it. This accounts for 44 trillion of that 93 trillion.
I misremembered the numbers here, but you should see just how dishonest their math here has been, but he goes through it all.
$1 price tag, just under half.
To achieve the Green New Deal goals and mobilization, a Green New Deal will require the following goals and projects: providing all people of the United States with high-quality health care.
How much do they think high-quality healthcare will cost? 36 trillion over 10 years, meaning that the actual climate policies proposed in this deal would only cost 13 trillion, or rather 1.3 trillion a year, which is a lot, but barely more than what we spend on the military.
Yeah, so even if you cut out their irrelevant assertions on wages and healthcare, by the way, again, Medicare for all would be cheaper than our current healthcare plan. So we'd actually have more money to spend. It's 1.3 trillion a year, and this is 1.3 trillion a year of their math on how much it would cost to do all the climate related stuff. So do you really think it's 1.3 trillion, or do you think it might be significantly less than 1.3 trillion? I'll leave it up to you. You can watch the whole video if you want. I just wanted this segment just to remind you guys like how silly this is.
100 years if things went well, okay? I mean, they literally want to take buildings down and rebuild them with tiny little windows, okay? Little windows so you can't see out, so you can't see the light.
What?
And the whole thing is so crazy. It's such a crazy thing.
That's the Green New Deal? They just want to build a lot of tiny little windows? What? Dude, he is so fucking high right now. I fucking wish I was on what he's on. Holy shit. This is some quality dope.
And take a look. And Biden agreed to this with Crazy Bernie because, you know, they have the manifesto. They've agreed to most of these things. And it's going to cost more money. Our country will be a ninth world country, not a third world country, a ninth world country. We won't have energies. Look at what's happening with the rolling blackouts in California.
What?
Look at where California is going to have to ration water. You know.
Wait. The rationing water is because of climate change that the Green New Deal seeks to address, and the rolling blackouts are because low levels of company regulation prevented PG&E from adequately upgrading their infrastructure over the past few decades. Both of those are climate change-related problems that are corporations or your guys' fault.
Why? Because they send millions of gallons of water out to sea, out to the Pacific.
What? Because
they want to take care of certain little tiny fish.
What? He's in a realm beyond. What the fuck is he talking about? California is running out of water because we sent water to little fish. The reason California has droughts is because of climate change. There's inadequate rainfall in Southern California. I have no idea what he's talking about. This is insane.
That aren't doing very well without water, to be honest.
This is why I don't stream when I'm high, by the way, because my shit would sound like this. Like, this is what I'd be talking like, otherwise. What is this? Delta smelt the tiny fish caught in California's war with Trump. The smelt are almost extinct. Is this literally just them, like, preventing a dam from being built or something to protect the wildlife? Is that it? This is not... So it's just them trying to protect their environment? That's it? The reason their environment needs protecting is because of the drought to begin with. Listen. Nearly 40 years ago, their population suffered a huge blow. Their numbers had declined more than 80%. Their numbers dipped lower after a period of extended drought. So the drought is the problem here. Okay, this is stupid. I can't fact check every dumb fucking drugged up thing he says.
With you. But it's a very sad thing that's happening. It's no common sense. Even the fires in California. I talk about I was with Governor Newsom. I get along with him very well. We disagree on a lot of things, but I get along with him. Number one, you should let water come down from the north and accept it instead of throwing it out to the Pacific. But you also have to have forest management. We send them so much money. I don't have to, but I want to help California. But they have the biggest forest fires because they don't manage their land. They don't have separators.
What?
They have trees that have been laying on the ground that are stone cold, dead, dry, like a matchstick.
So you want to... That land is federal land. That's not state land. The forests in California are federal. The state doesn't have the authority to... This is federal... The part of the state you're referring to is federal land. The state has no legal authority to clean up the dry underbrush there. You have to send federal people in, the Bureau of Land Management or the Forest Management or whatever the fuck it is.
And you throw a cigarette butt on between the leaves and the trees, everything catches on fire.
That's federal territory.
Acres in a short period
That's
of time.
under your jurisdiction.
They got to manage their forests, and if they manage their forests, you're going to not see the
It's
forest
your
fires.
forest.
Mr. President, the Heritage Foundation identified nearly 1,000 convictions on voting fraud. There have been, you have expressed many times your concern about some of the changing laws and rules and have spoken negatively about these changes. But with that said, a lot of states have now begun.
Look, a huge portion of California's forest land is owned by the federal government. All of this dark green. All of this, the state can't intervene in this. It's not their territory. The state has no authority at all to go in there. Yeah, same with Oregon and Washington, yeah. Generally speaking, the West Coast states have a lot more federal land for reasons that you can find in a CGP Grey video. What's light green? Light green is state territory.
Gun early voting. Some will be starting in a week or two. Will you encourage your supporters to get out and vote early?
Well, I want them to vote, but I will say this. Absentee is okay because absentee ballots, excuse me, absentee ballots are fine because absentee ballots, you request, you ask for a ballot, and you request, and that's it. Absentee ballots are absolutely fine. You request them, you fill.
Sorry. Here's a full map of federal land in the United States. As you can see, the West Coast has most of it. But yeah, the entire eastern strip of California and most of the North are federal land. The state, that's not state territory. Yeah. Look at Nevada, dude. Fucking cucked-ass Nevada. Ha losers.
Them in, you send them back in. But these unsolicited ballots, universal unsolicited ballots, Sean, it's going to be a disaster, the likes of which we've never seen.
Citation
we will never
needed.
have seen an election like what's going to take place.
He's desperate.
Thousands of ballots all over the country are being reported, some thrown in garbage cans with...
Citation fucking needed. So far, the highest instance of ballot tampering I've seen was that one post office guy who threw away like 100 ballots from a Democrat-heavy area. That's the largest. There were like 9 ballots found in the trash, but there was recently a guy arrested for throwing away like 100 ballots, remember? You guys know what I'm talking about, right? Like, I don't know where he's getting these thousands of instances from.
My name on them. Some thrown in trays in a river. What's going on is absolutely crazy. We have people watching. We have U.S. attorneys watching. We have sheriffs watching. We have U.S. marshals watching.
With that
But with
said,
all of
then,
that, you're talking about millions of ballots are being sent out.
with that said,
As a general rule, you just shouldn't listen to anything Trump or any Republican says about voter fraud. Voter fraud has historically always been incredibly negligible, and additionally, it's usually done by Republicans. The greatest interference to the legitimacy of our democracy is and always has been voter disenfranchisement. Here, let me show you the actual threat to our democracy, okay? Here's a time lapse of voters lined up to drop off ballots at City Hall in Philadelphia. This is the real threat to our democratic process. Deliberate efforts on the part of Republican officials, mostly, to prevent people in Democrat-heavy areas from voting. It is only because of this. Only because of this. Oh, that loops. Okay, so it goes from here to here before looping. It is only because of this that Republicans are capable of winning national elections. This is the only reason why.
if
It's a
there's
fraud. It's gonna be a
in-person
big,
early
tremendous
voting,
fraud.
would you
Excuse me?
prefer that your supporters, if that's the system and that's what the law is, would you prefer that they get out early also so that there's not a big deficit heading into Election Day?
Yeah, well, my supporters are going to be mostly people that vote. They go to the vote. You know,
That is true. Interestingly, it seems much more likely that Republican voters actually have the ability to vote than Democratic voters. Interesting. I wonder why.
old-fashioned way. It's like go to the voting booth and vote. First of all, we should have voter ID all over the country. We don't. You know, when you buy something, you have voter ID. To get into the Democrat National Convention.
I don't need voter ID to buy. What the fuck are you talking about? You don't need to voter ID to buy something? What?
You had to have voter ID. You had
That's
to have voter
true.
ID.
I had to have it 4 years ago.
But to get into vote, right?
Yeah.
But to get into
What?
vote, you don't need voter ID.
Wait, do they wait, or what are they both talking about? I mean alcohol, but that's to verify your age.
You know, in many places you do. Indiana has a great system. I mean, you have many places where you do have it, but we should have voter ID, universal voter ID. When you go to vote, they should see who you are, make sure that it's not fraudulent. But this will
Again, fraudulent voting has never been a statistically significant issue. Voter ID laws have historically always been pushed by conservatives to disenfranchise the poor and the immigrant and the brown. And hey, I would be totally fine with a voter ID if two things were the case. First, every American is automatically registered to vote when they're born. You know, they can't vote till they're 18, but they just are by default registered to vote. And two, IDs are truly universal. Anybody can get them everywhere, attached to their social security number for free. No problem, no problemo. If we could have that, you know, like other European countries do, then we will have no issue. Yeah, in Norway, you're registered to vote by default. I think most comparable countries just have you registered by default. We're the only country that does this weird, like, you're 18, but like, if you don't want to vote, you don't like have to register.
be one of the greatest most fraudulent elections ever because of this whole thing with they're sending out millions and millions and millions of ballots. Where are they sending them? Who's sending them? Where are they going? Where are they coming back from?
Why does it matter?
How many are fraudulent?
You check.
Are they being thrown away? Are they being sold? Are they being harvested?
What?
It's a terrible thing, Sean. Despite that, I think we're going to have a tremendous victory. I saw some polls just now, some real polls, not the fake news polls where they put out fake numbers like at CNN and ABC, Washington Post,
Oh,
Wall Street
no,
Journal,
no.
NBC.
Oh, no,
It's
no.
the same stuff as I had. It's not nearly as bad as it used to be. It used to be much worse, believe it or not. Hard to believe when you think of it.
Oh, no,
But I'm looking at polls that are doing great. We're doing great in Ohio. We're doing great in Iowa. We're doing great in many places. Many places. Then you come home, you turn on television, you say, gee, I'm 4 down. I can't believe it. But they're fake polls.
Last question, and I only have about a minute for you to answer, and that is we now discovered that the CIA had briefed then President Obama on a plan that Hillary Clinton concocted to distract from her email server scandal and concoct this Russia hoax. We also learned that we already knew she paid for the dirty Russian misinformation dossier, and that the source for Steele's dossier was a known Russian operative for over 10 years. And they still went forward with it. In the 40 seconds we have left, your reaction to this new news?
I mean, I've gone over this, by the way. This whole, they're bringing up Hillary Clinton again. It's 2016 all over again. They're trying to say it's legal. It's not illegal. I've looked at it. The information that it was like a document was released that is being discredited, and the discredited document alleges something, and the thing they're alleging isn't illegal. So, yeah.
We caught them spying on our campaign.
That is not true.
This is treason.
That's
we
not
caught
true.
them trying to take down a duly elected administration/president.
That is not true.
We have all the evidence down. Now we have to see what the law enforcement's going to do with it.
Nothing.
But we caught them spying. As sure
No, you
as you're
didn't.
sitting there, I assume you're sitting, but as sure as you're sitting there, we caught them spying on our campaign. You know that almost
They did
better
not.
than anybody. And
We
it's
were
something
right.
when you see the New York Times, Washington Post get Pulitzer Prizes, they got everything wrong, right? They got everything wrong. We caught them spying on our campaign.
Nope.
We caught them trying to take down a duly elected president. And then they talk about we want a peaceful transition of power.
Peaceful
we
know what
Mike
Hillary
Pence's
Clinton
best
said.
answer was that answer last night. Peaceful
Mr.
transition.
President,
Look what
we,
they did. They spent 3.5 years trying to terminate a presidency.
See? And that's what we're left with. Trump laughing off the idea that he should accept a peaceful transition of power because he spouts conspiracy and says there's no way any loss he has could possibly be legitimate. That's what you've got. All right. Well, that was a big fucking meme. I like the coughing in there. Wishing our president the best, of course. Utterly deranged. And I wish I could have what he's having.